Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to bring chaos with them, like a storm walking into the room? Maybe it's a family member who always knows how to push your buttons, or an old friend who drains your energy the minute they call. And the truth is, the older we get, the more we realize that peace isn't just a nice idea. It's a necessity. After 60, your time, your energy, and your peace of mind become more precious than ever. So let me ask you this. Are you tired of letting toxic people steal your joy? You're not alone. Many women I speak with, whether they're 62 or 82, say the same thing. I thought by now people would get easier to deal with. But instead, it can feel like some folks never grow up, and worse, they seem to get bolder with their drama. If you felt that way too, I want you to know something important. You are not the problem, but you do hold the power to make it stop. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly how to do that. Not by arguing, not by yelling, not even by cutting people off, but by learning how to change your energy so powerfully that toxic people simply stop trying. You'll learn a powerful 3-step strategy I call the Warrior's Shield, and once you start using it, toxic people won't know what to do with you. Because they feed off reaction, and once you stop giving it to them, they have nothing to cling to. Let's begin with something that sounds simple, but has the power to change everything: becoming emotionally invisible. I know, that might sound a little strange at first. You might be thinking, but I don't want to shut down my emotions. And I agree with you, you shouldn't. What I mean is this: toxic people feed on emotional visibility. They study your reactions, your sighs, your eye rolls, your raised voice. They look for ways to read you and pull you into their games. The more you react, the more they control the game. That's why emotional invisibility is your first line of defense. I call this the stone face technique, not because you become cold or distant, but because you become unreadable. Like a peaceful mountain that doesn't flinch in the wind. When someone tries to get under your skin, you don't give them the satisfaction of knowing they succeeded. You breathe. You stay still. You let your face go soft and neutral. Not forced, not fake, just unshaken. Like you're saying without words, I see what you're doing, but I'm not playing today. And here's why it works. People who thrive on drama need feedback. Your reaction is their fuel. They throw out little emotional hooks, snarky comments, guilt trips, passive-aggressive jabs. And when they don't get the reaction they were fishing for, they get uncomfortable. They lose their grip. Without realizing it, you've taken away their power. Let me share a quick story. I once knew a woman named Carol who worked with a supervisor that would constantly humiliate her in meetings, always pointing out her smallest mistakes in front of others. One day, Carol did something different. She didn't defend herself. She didn't argue. She simply looked back at him with the calmest, softest expression. Not angry, not smug, just centered. And then, without a word, she turned back to her notes and carried on. That one moment, her complete emotional stillness, was the beginning of the end for his control. He stopped picking on her after that. Why? Because she took back the one thing he was using against her, her reaction. Now, staying that calm in the face of cruelty isn't always easy. That's why the second step of your Warrior's Shield is just as important. Reverse their energy. Toxic people expect pushback. They expect you to defend, explain, or snap. What they never expect? Calm silence, or even unexpected kindness. It's like tossing a wrench into their psychological machinery. You disrupt the game. Imagine someone rolls their eyes at you and says, "Well, I guess you forgot again." You can feel that hot rush in your chest. But instead of firing back, you pause. You smile gently. You say, "Maybe I did. Thank you for reminding me." And you walk away. That tiny moment of choosing calm over conflict sends a massive signal. You are not emotionally available for their nonsense. Some people ask me, But aren't I just letting them get away with it? And here's what I say. You're not letting them get away with anything. You're just not letting them pull you down with them. That's strength. That's power. Because now you're the one in charge of your energy, not them. You're saying, you can be chaotic, but I won't meet you there. And when you respond with unexpected calm or even kindness, you expose something toxic people don't want to see, their own weakness. You take away the storm they were counting on, and most of the time, they'll voluntarily pull away, not because you pushed them, but because they can't play the same game anymore. You changed the rules. I once read about a CEO who dealt with a workplace bully in the most elegant way. The bully had been gossiping about her for months, trying to turn others against her. Instead of confronting or retaliating, she walked up to him one day at the coffee machine and said, "You know, I hope whatever's hurting you gets better soon." And then she walked away. That was it. He stopped bothering her after that. Why? Because she didn't give him a fight. She gave him something he didn't know how to handle, grace. And grace is terrifying to those who operate in darkness. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds good, but what if I do feel reactive? What if I can't stay calm in the moment? And that's okay. You're human. We all are. That's why the third part of the warrior's shield is so essential. And it's the part that keeps you grounded no matter what chaos tries to reach you. But let's pause here for a moment, because just absorbing these first two shifts, becoming emotionally unreadable and learning to reverse energy, can already start transforming how you move through the world. You're not ignoring problems. You're becoming immune to them. You're protecting your peace, not by hiding, but by rising above. And that's the kind of strength no one can steal from you. The kind that only grows with time, wisdom, and practice. So now that you've learned how to become emotionally unreadable and how to flip their energy with unexpected calm, let's talk about the final and most powerful layer of your warrior's shield, anchoring to your purpose. This part is what keeps everything steady. Think of it as your emotional mountain, unshaken, no matter how strong the wind blows. Because when you know who you are, why you're here, and what truly matters to you, toxic people can't touch you. They might try to rattle your cage, but you're too busy climbing your mountain to look down. Here's the truth. Toxic people rely on one thing to keep their power: distraction. They want your mind tangled up in their games. They want your heart hooked into their chaos. They want you focused on their drama instead of your peace. But when you wake up every day with something bigger than them to focus on, whether it's your health, your garden, your grandkids, your art, your faith, they start to feel small, insignificant. Because in the light of your purpose, their shadows shrink. You don't need to have some grand mission that changes the world. Maybe your purpose right now is taking care of your body so you feel stronger, or spending more time in nature to restore your spirit, or finally writing down your memories and stories to leave a legacy. Whatever it is, make it yours. Own it. Live in it. And let it guide your energy every single day. Let me share a simple but powerful example. There's a breathing technique that warriors, yes, literal warriors, use in the middle of intense conflict. It's called box breathing. You breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold again for 4. What does this do? It brings you back to center. It brings you back to yourself. Your brain calms down. Your nervous system resets. And most importantly, you start thinking clearly again. Now imagine using that in a moment when someone is trying to bait you into an argument. Instead of snapping, you breathe. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. While they spin in chaos, you return to purpose. That's what anchoring looks like. Not being perfect, but knowing how to come back to peace. This is also where your personal rituals matter. They don't have to be complicated. Maybe you light a candle every morning and say a prayer for strength. Maybe you sit in silence with your tea before the world wakes up. Maybe you walk barefoot on the grass and remind yourself, I am grounded. I am safe. I am enough. These moments aren't silly. They're sacred. They keep your energy clean. And when your energy is clean, toxic people can't hook into it. Let's talk about something else that's important to understand. Why all of this works so effectively. It's not just emotional fluff. There's real psychology behind it. Toxic people crave reaction the way some people crave sugar. They're addicted to drama. They get a rush when you argue, when you cry, when you defend. But when you don't give them that hit, when you stay calm, silent, or kind, it's like offering a sweet tooth a plate of broccoli. No bite, no reward, no point in sticking around. And here's the beautiful part. Your calm doesn't just protect you, it exposes them. Because when someone throws a tantrum and you don't join in, they look childish. When someone tries to manipulate you and you don't respond, they look desperate. When someone lies and you don't react, they lose their power. Your silence becomes a mirror, and they don't like what they see. You don't have to call anyone out. You don't have to prove anything. Just let your peace shine so bright that their drama looks ridiculous in comparison. It reminds me of something my friend Susan once said. She's 67 now, a widow, and after her husband passed, a lot of people, friends, family, even her own sister, started treating her like she was weak, like she didn't know what she was doing. She told me, I used to try and prove myself, to explain, to convince them I was okay. But then I realized, I don't have to play in their version of me. I just have to live mine. She started doing yoga in the mornings. She painted in the afternoons. She began mentoring young women online, and the people who once tried to control her, they slowly faded away, not because she argued, but because they had nothing to control anymore. She became emotionally invisible. She reversed their energy, and she anchored herself to purpose. That's what real strength looks like. And maybe you've had your own Susan moment too. Maybe you're having it right now. That moment where you realize, I don't owe anyone my energy. I don't owe anyone my explanation. I get to choose what enters my space and what doesn't. Here's the thing we rarely say out loud, especially as women who've spent a lifetime nurturing others. You don't have to fix anyone. You don't have to save them. You don't have to keep peace by sacrificing your own. The moment you stop trying to manage someone else's behavior and start managing your own peace, everything changes. Because the truth is, you can't always control who enters your life, but you absolutely get to decide how long they stay. And you don't have to slam a door to make someone leave. Sometimes all you have to do is stop reacting. Stop entertaining. Stop explaining. The absence of drama becomes the presence of power. And that's when they leave, on their own. It's not magic. It's mastery. Emotional mastery. Energetic mastery. The kind that doesn't come from reading 100 books, but from deciding, I'm done living on other people's terms. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You'll notice the air around you feels lighter. Your home feels more sacred. Your mornings feel more centered. And the same people who once pulled you into battles will start to feel distant, like they can't find the door to your energy anymore. And truthfully, that's because you changed the lock. Sometimes the most powerful transformations happen in silence. That might surprise you. We live in a world that rewards noise, posts, reactions, responses. But the deepest kind of change doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It shows up in how you carry yourself, how calm your spirit feels, how little the noise around you stirs your soul anymore. Because what you're building isn't just protection, it's clarity. And clarity, especially after 60, is one of the most precious gifts you can give yourself. You see, once you've anchored to your purpose, once you've stopped reacting, something beautiful begins to happen. You become unavailable to chaos. Not because you're hiding from it, but because your energy no longer welcomes it. It's like tuning into a different radio station. They might still try to reach you, but you're not on that frequency anymore. And this shift? It's felt. People notice, even if they can't explain it. They sense that you no longer need their approval, that their opinion no longer holds you hostage. And that's when the power dynamic quietly flips. You stop trying to be understood by people who never cared to understand. You start walking away, not in anger, not in drama, but in peace. Just peace. That's what protecting your peace really means. It's not a quote. It's not a bumper sticker. It's a biological necessity. Because when your nervous system is constantly on edge, waiting for the next attack, the next insult, the next subtle jab, you're not just emotionally drained. You're physically wearing yourself down. Science shows us that stress, especially the kind that comes from unhealthy relationships, affects everything. Your immune system, your memory, your sleep, even your heart. So this work you're doing to disconnect from toxic people, it's not just emotional, it's essential. It's you saying, I will not let someone else's dysfunction damage my health, my spirit, or my joy. Let me share something powerful with you. Growth doesn't need to be seen to be real. You don't have to announce it. You don't need anyone to clap for it. The most profound evolution happens when no one's watching, when you're simply choosing better each day. Better breath, better boundaries, better peace. And there's a reason for that. In neuroscience, we call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Every time you choose calm over chaos, your brain rewires for strength. Every time you walk away instead of argue, it rewires for peace. Every time you breathe instead of react, it rewires for clarity. That's not just inspiration, that's biology. And over time, those new patterns become your default. You stop living in defense mode. You start living in design mode. One of the most powerful things I've seen is how women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s are taking their peace seriously, sometimes for the first time in their lives. After decades of putting others first, bending over backward, and swallowing their voices, they're finally saying, I matter, my energy matters, my peace matters. And it's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's graceful, it's intentional. That's what makes it powerful. You might notice too that as your peace grows, your circle changes. Not everyone will come with you. Some people, especially those who benefited from your old patterns, may drift away. That's okay. That's natural. As one door quietly closes, another opens. Because when you no longer feed toxicity, you begin attracting something entirely different. People who match your energy. People who respect your space. People who don't need to control you to feel powerful. And those relationships? They feel like a warm breeze instead of a storm. Like deep exhale instead of holding your breath. But the real win isn't just in attracting better people. It's in becoming the version of yourself who no longer entertains the ones who drain you. That's the shift. That's the freedom. And here's something I hope you'll hold on to. You don't have to explain your growth to anyone. You don't have to defend your decisions, or justify your peace, or apologize for your calm. Just live it. Let your results speak. Let your energy do the talking. Because when you embody alignment, when your values, your voice, and your actions all line up, you become magnetic to the right things and invisible to the wrong ones. People might wonder why you don't answer every text, why you don't show up to every argument, why you don't react like you used to. Let them wonder. You're too busy living on purpose to chase closure. Too busy protecting your energy to engage in drama. Too deeply rooted in who you are to be shaken by who they are not. And if you ever doubt the impact of this journey, if a voice whispers, maybe I'm being too harsh, or maybe I should give them one more chance, I want you to come back to one question. Does this protect my peace, or does it disturb it? Because that's your compass now. Peace is the filter. If it costs your joy, your clarity, or your well-being, it's too expensive. So if there's one thing I want you to take from this conversation, it's this. You don't have to fight to be respected. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to force anyone to value you. You just need to live in such alignment with your own peace, your own purpose, and your own worth that toxic people simply fade into the background. Not because you pushed them out, but because your energy no longer makes room for them. So now, I invite you to take one small step today. Just one. Maybe it's sitting in silence for 5 minutes with your hand over your heart. Maybe it's journaling what peace means to you. Maybe it's deleting a number you've been afraid to let go of. Whatever it is, let it be something that honors you. And when you do, share it in the comments. Let this be a space where we celebrate not the noise we avoid, but the peace we create. Because that's what this community is all about. Women lifting each other up, not with drama, but with dignity. If this message spoke to your spirit, if you felt even a flicker of, yes, this is what I needed, please give the video a like and hit that subscribe button. We've got more beautiful, healing, empowering conversations ahead, and I want you to be part of every single one. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too sensitive. You are powerful. You are centered. And you are finally free. Here's to protecting your peace like the treasure it is. Here's to living your best life at any age. And here's to knowing, deep in your bones, toxic people will never bother you again, because they no longer have access to you